This may have been a pretty instructional video had I not lost about 4 hours worth of video when my computer crashed. So I'm about halfway through this. What I've got here are parts of an MK 1070, and this is a tile saw. 1070 means it's a 10-inch. I don't know what 70 means, but these are just the parts of it. That's the shield, a little bit of a rubber thing to keep the splash from getting too out of control. It's got a pump. Now, when I bought this is probably a $800, $1,000 piece of equipment, but I bought it for $50. Now the thing is, this has had a hard life. It's got the nice sled. It's kind of stiff. It needs to be rebuilt. It's got the nice water tray, the water pump, and it all works. The actual saw, it's just a big angle grinder. It's mounted to this frame here. And it all works. It's actually quite nice. It's got this thing here that goes 45-degree angles. I've got all the little locking things and all. The problem with this saw was that the bearings had gone out. Inside this head is a recess there for a bearing. That's what's left of that bearing. You can see the little balls, some of the parts that fell out of it. There's a little bit of a, I'm not sure, I think it's a little felt washer that was supposed to keep it from maybe lubricated, but whatever. Some other little pieces. And these are the little shields that are on. This is the replacement bearing here. And that's, those little pieces there are what's left of this part right here. It'd make it a sealed bearing. So, the trouble is though, and this is what I'm really worried about, is inside that housing, you can see the little worm gear. They're worn to knife edge. There's a bearing here as well that I am unsure about, but I'm not going to try to replace it because I might make it even worse. It seems to roll okay. There's no real marks on this piece that are bad. They fit in there. So, even though that gear there is bad, this gear looks pretty good. Trouble is, this head, one hole here, let's see if I can find it. That hole there had a bolt in it. These other three, the other three that are there, came out pretty easy. But that one, that was like welded in, and I could not get that out. I just about destroyed this trying to get it apart. And that's where all the video, the 4 hours of video was me trying to get this out. I ended up breaking it off. There's the 3 original screws. And I found replacements. You can see right here. But here's what remains of that original screw. And boy, I tell you what, that was jammed in there. It fought me the entire way. Ended up having to snap it off these bolts go into here, and it ended up having to break it off. You can see the damage caused by my punch and everything else I was trying to do, and I think if you look at this, I have deformed it. Let's see if I can find it. Probably not too visible on the camera, but that head is deformed. It's out of square, especially on this end. This has got an O-ring on it, and I think the O-ring doesn't really matter too much. It'll probably still work, so I'm not going to even bother replacing that. I'm just going to try to use some of this gasket maker, form a gasket and all that, and it'll work good enough. If it doesn't work, I'll just get another angle grinder and manage to modify it and make it fit in here somehow. I know this works. The motor worked. You know, this spins really easy. The bearing here, the head spins really nice. The motor, the windings are good. The thing is, a regular angle grinder won't have this special little piece. That is where the pump attaches for power. So that means when this motor comes on, that pump also comes on. It makes it nice. Now I could get around it just with a different kind of angle grinder. I could just have it a different switch, but I've opted to try to fix this. So far I'm not too much money into it. If it works, fine. And it's even got a nice pretty decent blade, 10-inch blade that goes with it. So that's where I'm starting now. I'm going to start reassembly. And the first thing that happens is I'm going to clean this head up best I can, because I'm trying to do something before I figured out this was stainless steel. I was trying to, there's another bolt, that one there, that little screw there is frozen in place. You can see the two there that came out. Now it doesn't do much, it just keeps a little plastic piece in there. This piece here, which I don't know what it's for, but it didn't seem to have any structural purpose. So I'll just leave the one bolt out. It seemed to work without it before. Look how damaged that is. It is it's a miracle it's relatively flat, as hard as I was hitting it. We'll see how we go. Now when I took this apart, the shaft, the bearing was gone. The outer race stayed in that pocket, the inner race stayed on the shaft, and I was able to pull it out this way. And that meant that the lineup was approximately, whoops, that little spacer has a shoulder on it. It was sort of like, no, it was like this. And the gear was here. Now I just pulled it out this way. And that meant that this little shroud fits inside that pocket. And now it wasn't press fit onto that shoulder anymore. Take this gear off. So even though I don't have proofs because I lost all my videos, I'm not sure exactly what order this thing is. I'm pretty sure that that little shroud fits onto that shoulder. And that means when I get this in here, that the way it's supposed to work, I think, is, I don't know if that was supposed to be a press fit or not, but it's not really a press fit. I guess it is sort of a press fit now. That's a press fit onto that little shoulder. The thing is, it's not a very good fit. I'd probably have to shrink that internal part down a little bit so that it fits tighter onto that shoulder. And then that should all go on okay. I'm playing with my new camera, so sorry if this is a little bit distracting, but it's a Canon M50, and you can touch the screen here and it'll tell you, you can tell it where to focus. Only it's not doing very well. So it should be focusing on the gear now. No, but it isn't. There. And so then I'll put the gear on. Of course it'll be through that. The problem is the head's been pretty well abused right here, and that is, I guess I'm going to assume that's round, but this isn't. That's not round right here, so I'm going to have to do something creative to get this round again so that this will fit in, because right now it doesn't. Good. Ready for the gear. I think I'll pick this full of grease because it won't hurt anything, and it'll be a barrier from if this seal fails. Well, I don't know if the bearing seals fit. If the bearing fails, well, so what? It's going to go in here, but that's the reason that the gear is so bad looking, is because the bearing had gone, the seals had gone, and inside of this is basically just a grinding paste, and that's why that gear there is so badly worn out. It was just really gritty and bad grease, so that's why I don't have a lot of hope for all of this. Oh well. Bearing is in. Little shield behind it is in the right place. I think it's a slinger for moisture or something. The gear is in the right position. This is the orientation, and I got it to fit pretty well, I think. It just took some sanding and filing and stuff, whatever. However, this is nice and clean, but I'm pretty sure that I've got metal filings inside this bearing. I might use some cleaner and then dry that out really well and then pack it full of grease. I am just going to use this Mollygraph, which has, it's a multi-purpose grease, but it's good for extreme pressure, which I think is good for the gears and stuff here. Well, as good as it's going to get. Third time's a charm. This piece here keeps the shaft from going out that way because it holds the bearing in there. And I actually did run it for a second and it ran fine, but the shaft came out. So now this thing, which is missing a screw, and I couldn't, it's broken off in there. I couldn't get that out for love or money, so rather than destroy the housing altogether and break a bunch more drill bits, I just gave up on it. Hopefully this will be enough. That's the way I found it. Now that I've got this part back together, I can go ahead and assemble it into this. This white stuff, all this is all stone cutting, and it got into everything. I've been re-tapping all the little screws that hold things together. Been running, chasing all the threads, and I think there's one thing here that I can't quite get apart, which is this one here. That's frozen in there. I don't know if, yeah, this is something that bolts screws into here, so I'm gonna have to destroy this, at least this knob part, because it's already pretty well broken up. It's all damaged and screwed up, and so I'll break that off. I use the pliers and try to get that bolt out of there, and then try to make something up that will help it go into this part here. It's supposed to rotate over like this. I've got these spray tubes that keeps the blade wet. Comes in through this hose. Well, this was blocked, and I had trouble getting a drill in there. I couldn't push a wire through, it was too solid. This one was partially blocked, and I couldn't really get the drill here. It's the tight here is the clearance here is too tight. But what it does have is hex cap screw plugs, and unbelievably I was able to get them out and push a drill through and clean these up both really nice. It's a good design feature for this. It's a well-made thing. I don't know if I should put anti-seize on here or not, because that grease will just trap stuff here. Don't think I will. Yeah. Usually these plastic turning knobs are just cast over the top of a regular bolt. I think I got lucky. A few of the threads have been pulled out of the alloy casting here, but for the most part they're good. I think what I'll use here is the same thing that you used here. I don't believe this is original, but it works. So I'm going to just find a similar one, hopefully in my extra nuts and bolts. I'll put a stud in here, and I'll let this one, just use another wing nut like this one.